We are working on the handsome Mr. Sizzles, and we are now working on the sweater, or the front of the sweater and the front paws, and then we'll make our way through the rest of the sweater. So I'm just going to move my paper up so you guys can see what I'm working on. So I'm just looking here and at the picture, and Sizzles has quite a gray, but it almost has like a blue tinge to the gray in the sweater. So I'm going to put in, we're going to put in some blue. I chosen some, I have some sky blue out, but I'm thinking some ultramarine, light ultramarine for part of it, as well as a good gray to match. I'm thinking a colder gray. I'm almost thinking Payne's gray might be a good option to go with it, because we could hit in the light areas and the dark areas with both. So we're gonna fit light ultramarine, Payne's gray as well. Now, the fun of trying to find it. Oh, I found it first try. Wow. Okay. So I am just going to be noisy for 1 second. And actually, you know what? I don't think I really need to. We're going to come in with the picture here. I'm just going to move the book out of the way. In the blue. And we're going to come in. There's like a little gray arm thing here happening. I was going to just omit it because it wasn't really necessary, but it's there, so I'm going to draw it. So what I'm doing for this right now is I'm going to lay the Payne's gray down lightly with very light pressure. And I'm going to create circular strokes with my pencil and just work my way around this whole front area that's been blocked off for the gray, because there's going to be different colors, of course. Okay, so we're just going to work our way around. I'm listening right now to a show on medieval, what is it called here? Historic hauntings, but it basically speaks of old ghost lore from Europe, mostly right now it's mostly in England. But I like old history and what people believed and the things they feared, no matter how silly. Because a lot of the mythologies, and I am writing a book about this, a lot of the mythologies and things we believe do have a history and a reason for it, like Bloody Mary, the Banshee. And it's interesting because if we understand where those things come from, they're not so scary, but they do make for really interesting reading and to understand why people were fearful of these things. So they may seem silly to fear now, but we also don't know what those people were going through then. So a little bit of more understanding creates a little bit less ignorance in the world. Okay, so I'm just going around lightly with the Payne's gray. We don't want it super dark. And then we're going to bring in some ultramarine blue right over top very lightly. And it doesn't have to be super, we don't have to worry about it being nice and thick yet, like a million layers, because we're going to be creating those layers as we go. So for now, just a light couple layers of the Payne's gray and circular motions with the pencil. All right. So I'm going to do the same with the light ultramarine. This one I'm going to make sure I get in a little bit better. So that way I'm filling in entirely. I apologize. My cat had lunch and now is having the zoomies. Because apparently eating is really that exciting. Oh, what he's doing now. And then he'll get sleepy and want to come over here and go to sleep on me while I'm in the middle of drawing, guaranteed. I adopted him when we assumed he was 5 or 6. Not obviously sure because he's a rescue. And I've had him about 7 years. Oh, we have got a low battery warning, so I'm just going to plug in. Just make sure we're going in. Yep. And he is I've had him about 7 years, and he is one of the most routine animals I have ever owned. You can almost guarantee what it is he's doing at any given moment and why. A very sweet, lovable, good-intentioned boy. Not always the best behaved, though, but very sweet. So slowly, we're just going in with the light ultramarine. Not a lot of dark pressure or deep pressure. Whatever. Don't press hard. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay. I'm just going over lightly over this Payne's gray. Now, the blue color in the gray is just faint in the photo as well, so it doesn't need to be super standoutish when we're doing this either, so don't press super hard. Just a light pressure because that is how it is in the photo. It's just a light, sort of light bluish tinge to the gray, but it is a gray color. It's not blue, so... Okay, then we're going to come back in. Actually, I might come in with a stone gray over top of both of those. Or a stone gray. I don't know why I do that. Cold gray. And I'm going just a little bit deeper pressure. Same circular motions. And I am just more or less just burnishing in and filling in, like blending the two colors together with something that's really light. And then we'll come in and do the ridges in the wall. Okay. There's no rush. You just take your time and get it filled in. The beautiful thing about wool is there's so much depth to it. I used to be an avid knitter. I actually don't enjoy it, though, which is why I stopped doing it. I knitted my own blankets because I find I'm only 5'7", and I find blankets that you buy, like throw blankets, do not fit over your feet and up to around your neck. And I'm only 5'7". I'm not extremely tall by any means. So I decided I was going to make my own dang blanket. And my nephew's grandma, on his paternal side, has an alpaca farm. And I was able to get some family discounted wool, you could say, and make my own blanket. And I enjoyed making cat toys and, you know, little like scarves and stuff for family, but I just, it's annoying. I didn't like it. Not the fun. Not the fun overall. Okay, so we're going to do is the lines are kind of, they look sparse and kind of all over the place, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing because they will help us create that depth in amongst the wool. Okay, So the way it's hanging off of Sizzles. So don't worry if it's not 100% correct. It's not going to be, but do your best to lightly, just start off lightly with the Payne's Gray and then darken it as you go if you need to block in those lines. Because it'll just help create that shape and form around his little chest area, which is important. It helps create and make it come to life more. So we're going to bring it around too, but there's a little spot right here in the front that kind of hangs, like sags a little bit forward. So I want to capture that as like its own little similar, like own separate area, and then bring it in with the other lines. That's why. And then right here, there's a white line that comes down right here. I'm actually going to grab my pencil eraser. And I'm going to go in and get rid of these lines. Just bring them down a little further. And then I'm actually going to come in and make that line that is there in the fold of the wall. Apparently. Well, let's hope. We'll see if it lets us do that. No, it'll be fine. Okay. So we're just going down like this, and then it kind of wrinkles in towards this direction. And then to here. And then there's another area right here that I'm just going to lighten up while I have the eraser. And you don't have to do this, but like I said, these little nuances, these little additions really do make it stand out that much more as looking realistic. So that's why if you can, I wouldn't stress about it, but if you can, it's a good thing to get used to doing if you're trying to create more realistic drawings. Okay. Oh, the sleepy kitten has arrived. Are you coming up, my love? Hold on. Let mommy get comfortable here so I can be ready for your big, massive butt to sit on my lap. Are you sleepies? Okay. Come on. Come on. Get up if you're coming up. Come on. Need more room? There you go. Okay. Why do you gotta hug in that direction? Why don't we hug? No, you can hug. Just hug over this side. There we go. He panics thinking I'm not going to let him do it. Oh, whatever. Just jump down. Freaking cats. He panics thinking I'm not going to let him do it. And I'm simply just trying to move him from one shoulder to the other. It's like, my Lord. I'm a little drama king. You all right? Come here. You can come here. Oh, I know. Life's hard, Bubba. Come up. Are you coming up? I don't know what you're doing. You're just a big old crackpot. You're a big old crackpot. Okay. Coming back in with the Payne's Gray and choosing to ignore that, which will bug me in about 2 seconds. Now we are watching an episode. Apparently, I missed the first one, yammering, about Gloucester. He said it a little bit different than my cousins from there say it. So, talking about a 10th century castle. Eighth, ooh, it's one of his castles. That's a whole other ballgame of crazy man right there. So the castle? Is that what it's called? That's what it sounded like. You coming up, Bubba? Come on. You're not coming. I don't know what you're doing. You're just staring at me. That's fine. You're allowed to be a little creeper if you want to be. about an apparition seen in a long green dress. They're talking about Catherine Parr, so maybe it's her spirit they think it is. Yeah. I'm just going to get that line I created there. I did not know that King Henry VIII's sixth wife, one of the ones that actually lived, and it lived Henry, actually got remarried. Interesting. Okay, so we've got the little gray going on here. Now, what I'd like to do is just get some black. Actually, maybe not. I'm going to just put in pressing hard a little bit, bring the dark that's around Sizzle's chest fur and bring it up as in showing where there's sort of a dip in the sweater. Up here, pressing quite hard since it's already set, and just sort of making the idea of where it is. Okay, so we've got that in there. And we should work on the feet. I'm not looking forward to the feet at all because it's not my strong suit. I am going to come in with the black actually and create that little black line that comes around here just because it does come up over the feet. And then that way we have that done. Okay, so we're just getting the black. And it literally isn't very much, but we are just going to bring in this black across here. And then it comes up. So we are just going to come in. I'm using medium pressure to get that black in there. Because the black of the wool, it's okay if it has a little bit of greeniness in it. It helps kind of with the realism of the wool, in my opinion. But I wouldn't traditionally recommend that in any other circumstances. And we're just going to come up the side here. There's out here. And then it kind of comes like this. And you can just do so in the circular pencil strokes, and then that way it gets into the tooth of the paper a little bit better. Okay. Okay, so with the feet, which are not the clearest, which will work to our advantage. You only see 3 toes on this side and the 4 here. So we've got light black. I'm wondering if you guys can see the feet as I'm working on them. There we go. Okay. So I'm just bringing the black in lightly since there is a black line that comes down. And it comes right like this. So we are literally going to draw just what we see. So this will denote the first toe and the nail. But this is how it looks. So we're going to go with it. It may look a little strange, but... And then we're going to come in, and that's just a shadow. We're going to come in, and then it does go into a brown, which we will get to next. Right tip out here. Brown that looks kind of like a raw umber. I'm going to work with raw umber, actually. Yeah, I like that idea. If I can find it. Okay. Okay. So we're just going to lightly go into the toe area where it shows. And then we're going to get some burnt sienna as well. Just a light. And then burnt sienna. Is that what we have here? Yep. Where the darkest area of the toe is right where the black is. And then right here along the sweater. It may not seem necessary, but it does make all the difference when you have interesting shadows like this and you want to make sure that you're getting them in the right placement. Okay. So here we're just going to bring the toe in like this, and then it goes up like this. And then it comes around. I'm kind of ignoring the pencil drawing, to be honest with you, that I have because I don't like it. And I think you do better in this regard just going in right off the hop instead of relying on the pencil sketch that was there originally. Okay, so then we're going to bring in the black, and we're just going to bring the black that comes around here by the sweater, and then it comes around here, up around the toenail, and down. And then there is toenail that comes, I made that way too long. I don't know why I did that. Okay. I'm going to shorten up that toenail a tad. Okay. Just going to make it nice and light. And it goes sort of on a curve here. And then part of it, you notice I'm missing part of it. I'm going to come in with the burnt sienna and do the lighter part of the nail right there on the side because it lightens up. And then we're going to take this, the burnt sienna again, and go into these dark areas. And we're going to get that black again. And I'm just going to round off this area a little bit better. And then the black even comes up lightly. Just like that. Okay. Now the next one, there's quite a dip of shadow. So we're going to try to capture that as well, get that shadow in there. Because even if it looks silly, you're seeing how it's coming together and it does look realistic in the end. So you just got to trust that what you see is really what you should be drawing, not what you think you should be. Okay, so then we have the little curl of the nail area here. And this is getting really dark, which is making it very hard to see, which comes to a point where you almost have to guess. I'm just going to darken up this area here. Bring in the burnt sienna in the lighter area. And then I'm going to bring in the burnt sienna right away instead of using the yellow, is it the burnt ochre or the yellow ochre? The raw umber, sorry, I'm not using either. I'm going to come right in and use it because it's quite a bit of dark difference. And then it goes sort of like this, it looks like. Kind of more like this. And here. We're just going to circular motions, get that filled in, and then we're going to come in with the black again, because obviously that's far too bright still. Okay, so right here. We're just going lightly with the black over the brown, so that way you can still see hints like you do in the photo of where the toe is. Here, getting it darker, and I'm just going to grab my pencil. And I'm just going to sort of clean up the little edge marks of my colors that I came in with. Okay. And then we've got the last little toe, which I'm going to come right in with the black to outline it. It's right about here. Just a little baby toe. And then there is a little heel spot there. Okay, and then again, I'm not even going to put the nail in this one because you can't see it, so we're not going to put it in there. And there's a little bit of a heel area back here, probably just the back of the foot there that we're starting to see. And we're going to mark that in there too, because it's just as important. And there we go. We got the first foot of Darling Sizzle. I'm going to actually come in here and just make sure I got all those areas filled in. Okay, so now we've got the second foot, one down. We totally ignored the guidelines, but that's a good thing in my opinion. Okay, so can you guys see the second foot? Yes, okay. Just want to be sure first that you can. Okay, so we're gonna come in with the raw umber on, well, I'd like to see how much of a space is there. I might even move the little foot over a bit. I'm a little nervous about doing that, but there is quite a bit of space between his first paw and the second one. So we're gonna take a leap and start it, because once we start it, we're good to go. It's just, you just gotta do it. And if you mess it up, that's why you do it lightly, so you can just go over it and erase it and fix it. Okay, so we're going in with the raw umber. And we're gonna start, there's where the black line is on the picture, though it is a little bit different. Where the ear curves out is about where the toe ends. So I'm gonna start it right about here. Still quite a ways difference, but not too much. A happy medium. Okay, so we're going to bring a little leg out, or heel area. And then we're gonna come out here. Dog paws are certainly interesting because they're all uniquely different. And I think that's why they can be a little daunting at times, because they look weird when you're doing them, but they really aren't. I'm going to bring in some of the Payne's Gray here because this is more in the light. So the little nail that comes out here, and then we'll bring the black. Oh no, this is interesting. I am literally just pausing my show for a sec. So something interesting the guy just said in the show. He said that the belief is that as long as the ravens stay at England's castle, it'll never fall. Now, if anyone's on Facebook or knows much about the royal castle, they know they have the London, like the royal ravens, the castle ravens, that have a raven master and everything. They're on social media, the raven master. I actually drew one or painted one, and the raven master gave me a prop. So I was like, yeah, I was so proud of that. But anyways, Um, but that's why they keep everyone, like, I've been asked a million times, I wouldn't know why it was they kept ravens. And I'm like, I don't know. I just like ravens. I think they're pretty. And now we know why, because they keep them, because in the belief is if they keep them, then the castle or the monarchy can't fall. In that belief, that's very fascinating. That is really cool. I see, there we go. There's another old folklore, so to speak, thing. And it shows too. It shows too how it can affect people over generations. And they may, I bet the grandsons and stuff don't even know about that lore. They may, but it's just interesting how that can form and last through the ages. So there is. This is where it starts to get darker, but you can still see brown. So we're bringing in the dark sienna, or the burnt sienna. And there is a line right here. Right here, it's a little bit darker that I'm going to put in. It looks totally bizarre, but it's a little wrinkle in the paw. And I'm going with it because if I don't, it's going to look weirder in the end that I didn't add it. Okay, so next little toe is, again, it's already hard to see from the shadow exactly where its nail and toe is. So we're going to put it in, just map it in. And then we're just going to map in while we're here this other toe. So see how you can only see 3 toes on this side? From the angle that his feet are on. I'm just going to erase this line right here. I went out a little too far. Just a little too far. It goes to a little curl like this. There we go. And then up here. We're going to come in with the brown sepia. Circular pencil strokes. I'm going in light to medium pressure because I'm going over this again with some black. And then I'm just bringing this up here. And then we will bring a little toenail in, but we're going to bring in the black in first. So the black comes in here. And that could be even as little baby toe right there, but we can't see it because it's not being shown from the shadow. So we're going to act as though where it's just a line on the foot or the paw. I always say trust the process because you never know. If you don't trust the process, that's when you're going to screw it up. You need to just go with it and let it do its thing. Okay, and I just sort of went out here a little bit with the black more than I meant to. Okay, and then right here, we see this nails kind of in the fur here. So we're just gonna block it in and then come in with the Payne's Gray to get the lighter area where the sun's more hitting it. Actually, I'm going to bring this Payne's Gray in. And we're going to go across here. And into here. I'm going to allow that to turn into the burnt sepia. bring in the black again and darken up this shadowy area. We don't have to totally cover the brown or the sepia there, the burnt sepia or burnt sienna, sorry. But we're just gonna darken up over it so it's more blended. And then that way, if that fourth little toe is right here, then it can still be imagined as it's meant to. The burnt sienna here a little bit. Now that we've got the little paws, front paws done anyways, we're going to work towards the back area now of his sweater. And we may as well put these back because we're not going to need these colors. Not right now. We're going to need the black. But we are not, whoops, apparently I want to throw it. We are not going to need the Payne's gray or any of that. So put that there. We will need the blue there. We will need the Payne's gray eventually. What am I talking of? And then we're going to need some yellow, which I had chosen the light cadmium yellow. And then I also have chosen for the pinky red area, I have salmon as well as dark cadmium orange. And then we have a navy blue or darker blue in there, which I had chosen Perusian blue as well as some cobalt blue to go in that area there. Okay, so we're going to start with the yellow. And the yellow just sort of pleeps through here. You want to be careful not to touch the lines where the blue is going to go in, because blue and yellow make green, like we discussed before with my Halloween hair. Okay. And I'm doing a medium pressure and just doing the circular strokes to lay the yellow down. And I'm not going to go back and do the next yellow because I don't want to smudge. So I kind of want to work out. So I'm going to put it back. Then we're going to do the blue. And I'm going to start with the cobalt blue, which I'm positive will be too light. Light circular strokes. Be careful hitting that yellow. Okay, and then we can move more freely now. And we are just moving our way around. And then we're going to come in with the Prussian blue over top. So just lightly moving our way around. And I'm doing a lighter pressure this time because we're going to be bringing the Prussian blue over top. So it's not really necessary to press super hard, and why create more problems on your joints if you don't need to. Okay. Just lightly next to that yellow. There we go. Now we are going to have some markings in there. We are just allowing. We're going to start with the Prussian blue. Now the yellow, we do have the little markings as well. So we're probably going to use grays through those areas. but different varying grays. Let's see. Careful around the yellow. We're gonna grab a cold gray 4, and I'm going to just create little light nuances of gray going through the yellow. This one. And it doesn't have to be overly noticeable because the wool lines are not overly noticeable. They're very faint. I just want them going in the right direction. And then here. And then we're going to grab the Payne's gray and do the same through the blue. I might have to press a little bit harder because obviously the blue is darker to make it more noticeable. Or you can grab a deeper, darker blue. But I like the look of the gray being cohesive through the entire picture. And then I'm just going to grab this blue cobalt and very lightly get closer to that yellow, so there's no white in between. Okay, there we go. Then we've got white, but we are going to put in an ivory, and then we are going to then put in the cold gray. I don't know why I keep wanting to call it stone. It drives me nuts that I do that. All right, so we've got, where is my ivory? Where are you? There you are. Okay, so we're going to grab the ivory and go over this white section. And I'm not worried about the lines that I have here because we always have a dark color in between them. So far it's being covered. Otherwise, I would suggest getting rid of them, but it's just not necessary with the darker colors on either side of the lines. So they're getting covered up one way or the other. Okay. So obviously the ivory is very faint, but it's still a color. So then we're going to come in with the cool gray 4 and just very even more lightly, just give a hint of those rows, of the different stitching rows in the knitting. That's what's creating that. It's the different rows or stitches. Let me just bring it down. You can even see how some of the lines curve a little bit. I'm gonna bring that in too. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my pencil eraser and along the bottom here where the yellow and the ivory is, I'm just taking out the pencil lines with that. We're going to ignore this cute little paw that's sticking out and continue with the blue. And again, we're going to start with the cobalt blue. And then we're going to bring in the Peruvian blue over top. So just light circular pencil strokes. Careful not to get too far into the white. It's not, or the ivory, it's not going to hurt it. It's just going to take away from the ivory though. Okay. And if you get one of the colors wrong by accident, that's okay too. I don't think you're going to be smoted for having color, because I actually don't have enough rose to fit all the colors. I made my rose a little too thick, and I don't care. So that's okay. That is more than okay. And you'll see that as we go along, or maybe I did add it in. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, it's not a big deal. It is nothing to stress over. And then come down here and get that Prussian blue over top. Over this with a light medium pressure with the Prussian blue. And then we'll come over with the Payne's gray and do those light lines for the wall. Okay, we'll get our Payne's gray. Lines at first, and if you have to put them in a little bit deeper, that's fine too, just a little bit more pressure. You better do lighter pressure and build it up, so that way, like that little nick mark that came out, it'll be easier to erase if it's lightly put in. And you think it doesn't matter, but guaranteed at some point you will wish you had done it. Plus it fills the tooth of the paper better as well. And that really is very, 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 very true. So there was a little bit of blue in there too I wanted to catch. Okay, there we go. And then we've got a peachy pink. So I'm going to do, because the darker part of the orangey color is more in the center, I'm going to come in with the salmon overall and cover the whole shebang area. And then we're going to come in with the, I think it's the dark cadmium orange I chose. And we will then do more of the center area. So it doesn't have to be perfect around the center, but pretty close. And remember, pink and blue make purple, people. So you don't want to mix too much, drag too much of that blue into the pink area by running the pink in there. So you want to get close and get in there and get that white, but you don't want to. You don't need to be making a big old purpley mess. Oops, see? I'm doing it there too. Bringing in pink. Okay, and I'm just doing a light to medium pressure. Circular pencil strokes. I'm going to get in that line there. Get my pencil, eraser, and get that little pink out. And yes, the blue is darker, but when you put the blue over the pink, it's going to create purple. So we don't want that. Now I'm just going to double check. It is dark cadmium orange, yes. And we're going to do, it's almost like when you see it on the picture, it looks almost more like a shading, not even so much an add of color. So I'm just going to kind of work with where I see it randomly on the photo, because it sort of moves around with the shape of Sizzles' body shape. And we're going to work it with that. So just like this. And then we're going to come back over it again one more time with the salmon. where we're just going to go more over just the edges here and blend into that dark cadmium orange in the middle. Just give it a deeper color, deeper Richmond. I really liked, I don't know why, but I really enjoyed picking up the colors for this little section because it was kind of cool how it was like a mix of two colors that were so beautifully cohesive with one another. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm getting those white areas around the edge. And again, getting my eraser and just getting those little bits of pink and orange that came out over the edge. Okay, and then we are going to do, we've got the light blue and Payne's gray, so we're going to bring in, sorry, I'm knocking the table. It's more of a blue in this one, so I'm actually going to ignore what we had done before, put down the light ultramarine first. I'm going to switch it up a little bit for this area. Okay, we're going to start with that. And I might actually, before I even start, I'm going to come in and grab that line that I created because it might just be noticeable in this case. So better safe than sorry. I'm just going to grab it now before we lay so much pigment down we can't grab it later. There we go. There we go. That way it'll be nice and clean. Okay, so back with the light ultramarine. I'm going to lay that down first. Just trying to see, because this is actually part of his leg, so I'm just trying to see where that is. Okay, so we're going to do it like this. Make sure we get down next to that salmon and dark cadmium orange. And then we have a dark blue next, so we don't have to worry about that next line. Okay, and then we're going to put in the cold gray 4. And we're going to, because I forgot, we're going to go over the lines of the orange and pink right now and add that in with the cold gray 4. And then when we're done that, we're going to take this cold gray 4 and go right over the light ultramarine. Not super dark, just lightly, because we still want the blue to be the dominant color, but we want to give it that bit of a gray, steel gray blue color. More so than we did in the front. Okay, and then we're going to take the Payne's gray. Where are you? Payne's gray. And we're going to create the lines on the blue. Okay. And then we've got the dark blue, so we're going to start in with the cobalt blue. Did I pick the cobalt blue first? Yep, so to be sure. And going over. Just be careful where his little leg is coming around the side of the sweater. And then we're going to get the Prussian blue. Go over top of that. And then we're going to get the Payne's gray to create the little lines. And then we've got the yellow again. Yellow and then black. Oh, we got yellow, yep, then black, so we don't have to worry about that little line. I am going to erase the little bit of blue that snuck out here, though. And then we've got black. It's probably blue, but in the photo it looks black, so that's exactly how we're going to portray it. And then we've got a bit of white. Just want to see how I did this. So we've got a little bit of the pinky orange color, white, as well as the gray again. So what I'm going to do is bring in the white color again, starting with the ivory. Do I have the ivory in my hand still? I do. Okay, right here. And it's just very faint, but we're still going to bring it in. And then the cold gray we're just going to create those lines in the yellow, the black faintly, and even into that cream, or the ivory, sorry. And then now we're going to do the Payne's gray and blue again. So we're going to get the light ultramarine and the Payne's gray. Where are you? And we can put the rest away. Pencil out, and the rest can go back. Okay, so we're going to start off like we did last time with a light layer of the Payne's gray in circular motions. I just went right over the cream and right over the ivory. And you know what? I ain't going to bother to fix it. I'm going to keep it just the way it is because it's not that big of a deal. It's such a small area. Okay. It ain't worth saving. All right, so we're going over the Payne's gray. And then we're going to come in with the light ultramarine. And we're going to blend that blue in there. Light circular strokes. Light to mid pressure. And then we're going to get that cold gray one in there again. I forgot. And we are going to go right over top of that gray to smooth it out. Okay, and then we're going to grab that Payne's gray again and create the little lines in the wall. That is too funny that I went right over the ivory right after I did it. Okay, and then his little bum is coming around here in his leg. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oops. I was going to separate the sweater and do it as a separate video, but we're not even an hour. We're a minute shy of an hour. So there'd be no point in cutting it in half when we can just do the whole shebang all at once. So we're going to come in and we're going to get the black again. Okay. Don't need dark indigo. That would not be smart. Okay, so we're going to get the cold gray. Actually, you know what? No. We're going to stick to the same pattern we had. I just got to find them. We got the brown ochre. That was not what we were using, was it? It was a raw umber. So we're going to use the raw umber again. This is why you keep your stuff up, people. Raw umber. Then we have the burnt sienna. And then we need the black. Keep picking dark indigo. Payne's gray. And black. There we go. And we're going to finish off this little back leg. We don't see the other one. And we have a little bit of a bum area to do here too. So we're going to come in with the Payne's gray at first. I'm just going to move my little cord here. I don't think you guys can see it. Okay. So we're going to move his little bum down here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're just lightly, very lightly with the Payne's gray, doing little circular motions towards where it turns into the back leg. And there's a little bit of black right here, which I know you may not think you need to do, but it's there, so we're gonna put it in. Okay. And then we're gonna continue with the Payne's gray. I'm just gonna move out a little bit so I can see more in hindsight of what I'm working on. Okay, so this little bum comes out here. And we'll darken certain areas, but we're going in with the lighter tone of the gray first. And then we're just going to come down the leg here. So right here, it's quite light. And then it gets a little bit darker here. And then it gets quite a bit darker here. And then light again here. And then just a little bit darker here. Okay. Now this area is quite a bit dark right through here. So we are going to, actually they're speaking of my family member in the show right now, King Robert the Bruce in Scotland. And my friend and I, my closest friend and I are actually related through this person. So it's kind of cool that he's showing up in this episode. Okay, so this is going to turn more into a black, but we're going to make it a nice Payne's gray first and bring it down. I'm just trying to see where it stops, right about here. Okay, so right to that line I created. And then there's some black in there, but we're gonna keep with the gray first and then let the black kind of come in and model the gray even more. There's a green lady that walks along the corridors of his castle. I did not know that. So right around here, where his little hippies would be, we're gonna put in the black. And then it comes right down here, quite thickly. And it goes up like this. The show, they're talking about a rose perfume. And those who know me know that I have not the scent of roses, but I have a thing with roses, my own experience with them. So that's interesting that a family member or a descendant, or I should say an ancestor's castle has the lore of that same idea. That's kind of cool, actually. Okay. Now it kind of goes like this. But we're gonna go with it. And then we got light right here. So we're gonna bring And then it goes dark up around here. Lady Drummond. That's who it's supposed to be in the green dress. Okay. Lilius. Damn Lilius. We're going to bring in the brown, the raw umber. I don't know why I want to call it raw ochre or brown ochre or whatever the hell I'm calling it. Okay, so we're going to bring that down the toes. And I kind of like to do the same thing I did last time where I'm just ignoring the foot I created because I think that, one, it's pretty rough, but we don't want the lines. It's pretty light and in the light a lot more than the other feet. So we are wanting to make this more line free because it's going to be noticeable. Now this area is almost black. So I'm going to bring in the Payne's gray. And put it in the little toe area. It kind of comes like this. Into more of a circular way. And then kind of comes down like this. And then we've got some more brown, a little more black actually here. So the black here. And then we've got, it goes like this into a little circular motion. And we're going to bring the toenail out here, which we're going to do the Payne's gray right there where it's lighter. We're just getting the dark part of the toe there, or the toenail. Lightly. Then we're going to grab the burnt sienna because we're going into almost a brownie color in the toes. And I'm going to create this toe here. It kind of goes like this. And there'll be some brown in it as well. Going over the raw umber that we had brought in, leaving it those super light areas. Well, in the story, they're saying that the spirit etched her name into the wall, and they showed where it's still there to this day. So regardless, the story is true. So whoever put that there, that's interesting. I'm just going to watch this light area. Of the hidden room. Interesting. Okay. And we're just going to get that raw umber in there again. Fill that in there. Then we're going to get that black in there again. Comes down right into this toe. Toenail here. And then the Payne's gray again to lighten this area up. We're just going to bring in this Payne's gray a little bit closer to the wool. Just keeping it a little bit more so it doesn't look so grainy. But we're still keeping it light, circular. Okay. And then we're just going to take a little bit of this raw umber and just get closer there as well. Okay. Just going to blend this in. And there we go. I'm just going to make sure any little markings we created along the way are out of the way now. This has got to be one of my favorite pictures I have done in a while. I'm happy with how it turned out a lot. And I think that it puts a lot of different tools and blendings to the test. Make sure just clean up around the feet a little bit. And I think that looks pretty darn good. So we are going to back this up. You guys see it. Up next to the actual photo. Here, we're gonna move this guy over here so this way he's more noticeable for you guys. I'm gonna take you guys out of the phone so you guys can see him. So Mr. Handsome Sizzles. There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I definitely did. Sizzles' owner was so very kind to allow us to capture her handsome little 20-year-old Sizzles. And it's been a lot of fun. So again, thank you guys, and I will see you for the next tutorial. Take care.